Hello Marvel Heroes fans, my name is Wilfred and welcome to my channel. I used to make a lot of video for this game, Marvel Heroes, but nowadays new contents are really hard to come by. And thanks to the Doctor Strange movie coming up, I hope you guys got a chance to watch it. I'm going to watch it with my wife this coming weekend. And we have Doctor Strange team up here. So this video is all about Doctor Strange team up on his power, the costume, as well as if you want to maximize the opportunity for him, how many power points should you allocate? Then welcome to stay on a little bit longer. I'm going to show you, my build with regard to this team up. And for those who are familiar with Clea, because I've got requests in the past asking me to create a guide for the team up Clea. In fact, it's exactly the same. So, this is really a Doctor Strange / Clea kind of a team up guide. So, for example, if you look at all his power, he has the dagger, he has the explosive orb, Seal of the Vishanti, the clone, as well as the flames of the Valtine, as well as the shield, also vapors of Valtor. If you look at Clea as well, if I may just show you Clea. If you look at Clea, it's exactly the same. So you have the dagger as well, explosive orbs and the seal, the flames of the Valtine, the clone, as well as the shield, another shield, and the vapor, also Valtor. So this guy is really applicable to both team ups, both for Clea as well as for Doctor Strange. And so this is the costume for the Doctor Strange team up, and I don't know which hero you like to pair Doctor Strange with. I wish there was a clear kind of like costume so that I can wear that, and then with Doctor Strange as a team up. But okay, now let's walk through the power first. His first power is called a dagger of Deverov, and it looks something like just. Okay, hang on. So this is it's not really ideal because you really can't really see Doctor Strange right now here in this scenario. Let me just resummon him somewhere here so they can see clearly what he does here. All right, so this is much better. So now this is the basic power, the bolts of the Balthak. All right. So now if you have the daggers of the Deverov, it will look something like that. All right, so this is 5 of them. That's it's similar to what Doctor Strange has really, and you could add some explosive orbs around it as well to make it more like a AOE kind of power. Upon contact with target, explode as a passive. You could have the flames of the Valtine, which is very much like another Doctor Strange kind of power, which is this one here, exactly the same. And let me zoom out a little bit. Then after that, you could also have the clone, which is Astro Clone. Also, exactly what Doctor Strange has as well. So this is the clone that does it. Now, but interestingly, the clone does 2 things here. Now, the clone does the bolt of the Balthak as well as the dagger. So both of the basic and the other power as well. But the tooltip doesn't really tell you how many times it hit and so on. So if you are interested in theory crafting, you probably would like to time how many times which power hit. So from my calculation, both of the Balthak is hit 2 times, but it hit like 5 times, but each time hit twice. And the dagger is actually 5 hits, but then it hit it does it 2 times during the duration. So you can work out it's times 5 times 2 for either one for both of them. All right. So now there is a clone, and by the way, right now the test center is bugged. The explosive orbs, whichever rank you increase doesn't really increase to anything else. So it's one of those things. This test center, I'm sure in the live center it will be fixed. And how do I do theory crafting? It is rather easy because I don't know whether you guys know or not, but 1 point you earn half of the full benefit of the 15 rank. So by the time you put put 15 rank, then you get all full of it. So the remaining half of it. So you can actually work out how many of those each point will give the DPS wise. Based on that calculation. So I can work out in backward so as to compare with the rest of the power here. And then after that, this is the vapor of the Valtor, which is very much like the, let me zoom a bit, which is this one here, the lightning hitting it. Again, it doesn't really tell you what it does because it says that mental damage per lightning strike, area duration, and so on. But you could actually kind of like count the number of time it hits. It a little bit difficult, But what I did was I turned off all the other power, just the basic versus the big one. This one I max ranks it so you can tell which are the bigger hits. So again, for those who are interested in theory crafting, there are a way to observe. But just this game, the tooltip is so lacking. It gives me jobs to do anyhow. Then other things that there are two very nice seal. One is the seal of the Vigilante, which is toughness of power, something like that. It's exactly like Doctor Strange power, which is something like that here. So long as you are near to the team up, you can benefit from it. But if you're not near to the team up, then you don't really benefit from it. And also, it doesn't last too long. It's just about 5 seconds. Of course, you could increase the area duration by putting more points to this one. Depends on whether you want it or not, because Doctor Strange has also have the seal of the Vigilante as well, which lasts a lot longer, and is part of the enchanting as well. So I would probably rely on Doctor Strange one. That is if you play Doctor Strange, but if you don't play Doctor Strange, it's rather nice to have that, so long as you are near that kind of area. All right. Then last one is Shield of the Seraphim, which is very much like this shield here. It's also quite nice. It does a kind of like a regen and constitution and so on and so forth. So it's a rather nice support. Now, what is 350 health? I mean, my only complaint about all this like health or health regen is that it doesn't affect by the gear. I wish that the team up gear affect all this. Even for rescue. I rather gear my team up to be super strong in healing, and that will be rather fun. But it's not to be. So it is just not to be. All right. So now these are all the power you have. So I hope you have got an idea. I mean, visually speaking, Doctor Strange team up is very satisfying, just like Clea. So if that's your cup of tea, that's your cup of tea. Now, second part of the video is about the allocation of power. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you two builds. One is the passive. If you use Doctor Strange as a gift of file time, which is increase your spirit as well as spirit cost reduction. It could be useful, but these days I don't really find it that useful in terms of maximum spirit. Maybe there's some heroes that can use a little bit more in terms of the spirit kind of. Maybe some hero can convert spirit into a DPS, so you may consider having that, but even so, something to think about. But in the event whereby you only have one team up, two team ups, so you really want to use him or her as the full passive, you could do that too. So how do you allocate your point? Now there are three team up is a way kind of like power, all right. So but in order to unlock these three, but you have to sort of like. Then they unlock it. But this is really about chance on hit. So it's 5% chance on hit, 5% chance on hit, 5% chance on hit. It cannot trigger more often than 30 seconds. Now, what it really means, friends, is that a 5% chance on hit is actually very low. You could increase it to 20% or 19% on hit. But what it really means is that every time you hit and you have a 20% chance of getting it triggered, and if you happen to have around 20% on hit, in theory, because I think they count it at most twice per second. In theory, it may trigger every 2.5 seconds, but I did timing on all this proc in one of my videos. It never really worked out that way. Sometimes it can be rather long. You have to wait until something happens. So chance on hit is never something ideal, but it's something that you have to bear with. It's just one of the part of the game design. So now in terms of that, what would you like to maximize and so on? So if you want to use a passive as health regen, because with the max kind of points to it, you regen about 1,000 health. But the thing is that you gain 1,000 health every 30 seconds. More than that, right? Because of the gap that you have between the activation itself. So it is super tiny, and you get a bit of constitution as well, restoring additional health per second. Buff with the kind of like 8.5 seconds. So you can do the math. It doesn't really run a lot. So it is rather, each of them is rather insignificant. I personally would probably go for the DPS wise and max out on the activation chance. So it depends on how much you are actually comfortable in in kind of like, which one of them you feel you need it more. So, you could have like maxed out all these like damage output of these guys, and then remaining of it, you just want to either maximize it to close the gap between each activation, or you say, well, never mind, 5%, I can live with that. What it really means is that it may take a while between each activation. All right, so I'm not really interested in doing all this like team ups away for Doctor Strange, because it's all right. I mean, it's not really that fantastic in terms of the thing wise. So, up to you whether you want to go for DPS or you go for a little bit of the shield, and how much of the gap between activation you like to bear. Now, let's talk about something more fun, which is which pawn would you like to, how you're going to maximize the potential of the Doctor Strange team up. So now I would strongly suggest, basically there are a couple of power that are very close to each other. So there are 3 power that are very, very close to each other. So they are namely the dagger, the clone, as well as the signature. So these are very close to each other, DPS by 600 odd. So that is something that you should max out. The explosive is something that 1 point you get half of the benefit, so why not do it 1 point, right? And this one is some other visual effect. You may or may not be there, but so why not have that as well? And you're some kind of heal. Right, so that is something that I would recommend. And the remaining point is for the Flames of the Valentine. That is if you would like to go for a DPS kind of build. However, if you like to use it more for the regenerate health as well, because it's naturally not that bad, 1000 odd health regenerate every 15 seconds rather than the other one. If you feel that you want to do a little bit more here, then you would like to probably trim down, put 1 point here instead, and the rest of it dump to here. Some thought to share. But this would probably be the build I'll go for if I'm going to have Doctor Strange as my team up, or Clea as well. Both are the same to me. And if you want to maximize this one first, then then I would suppose you probably take some point out from all these things. But these 3, like I said, is very close to each other. So there's no point really maxing too much on this kind of thing. It's really about play style. All right. Last point is more tips on the team up gear. Get something that is with the stat that will healed up. All these cosmic items that has all these upon enemy defeat and so on and so forth. So these are rather nice things to have it there. Team ups wave power is not really useful. I don't really have a lot of nice gear, to be honest. All these are pretty not really that nice. But there's some that some that would heal up the entire that when you use a mag kit, your team up gain damage boost, or even heal at full. I think those are really good to have if you really care about your team up. And also bear in mind, take a look at the stat as well. As a basic, without any of this the gear and so on, you don't really have a lot of crit chance at 0 actually, and brutal. So if your gear has crit chance and brutal, it will help as well. So do pay attention to that. Last but not the least, your gear wise, you go for special power instead of going for the basic too much. Although I must say that because a lot of Doctor Strange power are layered, so he does a bit more on basic as well. But I usually won't pay too much attention. I'll put the priority over the DPS power. The fact that it doesn't really have a lot of special layer because of the seal as well as the seal as well as the shield. There aren't really a lot of compared to other team up like the Ghost Rider or others recent one, Jessica Jones or whatnot. It may not have too much of special power. So it does, if you observe Doctor Strange, it does quite a fair bit of basic power that seems to be. So gear wise, I would say go for special, but if you have some basic as well, why not use it? All right, so now that is all I have today. Not really going to overstretch the whole thing. I do miss you all as well. Playing the Marvel Heroes is always a very special game to me, and I'm really hoping that Gazillion would quickly come up with some new content, because I really run out of things to do in Marvel Heroes. Anyhow, keen to hear a thought. How do you like the new Doctor Strange team up and the kind of costume that go along with it? Are you going to watch Doctor Strange the movie? No spoiler please on my channel, because I know a lot of you may not be watching it on the first weekend. So until the next time we see each other, goodbye and have fun with the Doctor Strange event. Bye.